We are in weather watch alert here on WUSA 9. Thanks for joining us on this live stream. Meteorologist Chester Lampkin here. Mary Marshall is also here, and Caitlin McGrath, Topper Shutt, all here later on today as we track a winter storm that moves through. And like many of the winter storms we've seen so far this season, they continue to miss us to the north and west here in Washington, D.C. So if you're a snow lover, this is not the storm for you, unfortunately. This is going to be another miss for D.C., but some areas, especially in this area shaded in purple, will see a little bit of a wintry mix, meaning some snow, some sleet, and unfortunately a little bit of freezing rain also possible in some of these areas. It'll be kind of a potpourri of weather out here in western Maryland, West Virginia, and along that I-81 corridor. Hagerstown, south to Winchester and Cross Junction, and farther south towards the Haymarket area. With that said, we're going to be tracking this precipitation through this afternoon. 4 o'clock is when most of these advisories will expire. Again, a wintry mix of snow and ice. I'm going to let it go full screen here just for a moment to show you what we're doing weather-wise through the day, and the planner showing the weather story today. We are tracking rain in Metro Washington. It is going to be a decently heavy rain at times here across the area, with the heaviest rain for the afternoon and evening hours. So if you have any questions, if you're watching us from Facebook, go ahead and post those comments, and I'll be able to access those here as we go through the live stream over the next couple of minutes about what we're going to see in your area. But I'm going to try to be as thorough as possible with this rain event here. Again, Metro Washington, pretty much a cold rain, albeit. So if you're going to be out today, you need the winter layers, but you also need something that'll protect you from the rain. Again, right now, radar's quiet in the metro. Let me show you the wide view, and this looks menacing. This looks like a big storm, and it sort of is. It's the same system that brought the tornadic weather to parts of the south and big-time snows from Texas and Oklahoma back into parts of the Midwest. In fact, still snowing across much of Ohio at this hour, and now getting into much of southwestern parts of Pennsylvania. If you're headed up towards Pittsburgh this morning, driving, flying, taking the train, you're going to run into that snow at some point along that Interstate 70 corridor out towards that area. Rain, snow, ice all across West Virginia at this time, and some of that snow trying to get into Virginia, but I checked the obs just a couple minutes ago. So far, we haven't seen much. There may be a few flurries flying in around Winchester, Berryville. Let me know what you guys are seeing if you're watching us from the stream out here. Again, radar is a tool. It's not perfect, so I got to tell you everything. Western Loudoun County, looks like some flakes may be flying, but a lot of this really isn't reaching the ground. This is, though, farther west, out towards the Oakland area and out into Elkins, Morgantown, and perhaps even as far east as Romney as we moisten up the atmosphere. Again, most of this not hitting the ground just yet, but a little closer in, you can see this is where it looks like the snow actually is making it to the ground, possibly. Again, here in far western Maryland and our West Virginia communities. Once you get a little farther east, perhaps a few flakes are flying right now. There may even be some ice pellets at times, so we'll be tracking and watching that. We go to the metro, and it is bone dry. We had expected this commute to be a dry one, so if you are about to step out for that morning commute, or maybe you're watching us from your office, you've already made it to work, you had a dry commute, right? And we're going to continue to see that trend next couple of hours. It's not till about midday when that precipitation really gets going here in our region. So there's our future radar. I'm going to take it literally hour by hour yet. I see Pamela saying nothing's happened yet. Thank you for that information there out of Martinsburg, Pamela. So yeah, I'm not surprised. Just our air is still too dry, so anything that is falling out of the clouds right now, it evaporates before it hits the ground. Some of it may make it to the ground in the form of sleet and/or snow showers or flurries next couple of hours in places like Martinsburg, Winchester, Berryville, Leesburg, Frederick, Hagerstown, Thurmont. But it's not until later this morning. Here's 9 o'clock, okay? Precip is really getting in now past Romney over to Hancock, perhaps around 9. No later than 10, Martinsburg, Winchester, Cross Junction, Stevens City. You guys are finally starting to see some precip. Even in the metro, there may be a couple of drops or ice pellets, little balls of ice to sleet. But I don't expect much even at 9 and even 10 o'clock. I don't see us getting a ton. There may be some sprinkle activity or ice pellets mixing in at this time. And by 10 o'clock, that's when you're really starting to see in Martinsburg, Winchester, Front Royal, over towards Hagerstown, maybe even as far east as Sperryville and perhaps Middleburg, maybe. But generally along and west of the Blue Ridge, a wintry mix here, a little rain, little sleet, and perhaps even a little bit of snow, with more of a pure snow, Romney, Cumberland, Hancock at first, before we get a little bit of icing to mix in a little bit later. So again, 10 o'clock, not a ton in the metro, maybe a few light showers or sprinkles. And then finally at 11 o'clock, that's when the radar really starts to light up. These flicks of yellow and the darker greens would be indicative of actual moisture getting all the way to the ground. Again, most of this out here, so you guys probably aren't seeing anything yet, La Plata, Leonardtown over to the eastern shore. And Fredericksburg, you're just now getting the rain here right around that 10 to 11 o'clock time period. Stafford, Quantico, and over to Woodbridge as well, Fairfax, Reston, and Leesburg, Purcellville starting to get some rain as well. And it does look like a pure rain now. Leesburg, we thought you guys might get a coating, but even that is probably out of the question. Frederick, you're on the border. You may get a quick coating of sleet and or snow before it becomes more of a pure rain later in the morning. And Hagerstown, you're also on the border, but you are in the winter weather advisory, as I showed you earlier. Again, up into the higher mountain areas, places closer to South Mountain, the Catoktons, and right on through the rest of the Blue Ridge Mountains, you have a better chance to see some snow. Watch those mountain passes on 68, on 70, and west on Virginia Route 7, US 50, and west on 66 as well. And of course, the I-81 corridor, notorious for seeing icy, snowy conditions. So that is going to be a tricky drive next few hours here. Here's 1 o'clock. Scattered rain in the area, maybe a couple dry periods, but overall it's going to be a rainy afternoon here in the district. Again, some of these areas in the Shenandoah Valley, you will be converting over, if you haven't already, you will be converting over to a pure rain right around midday, maybe a little bit before it in the Shenandoah, and then up towards Hagerstown, the PA border, maybe a little bit after midday, sort of how it plays out. But even here, look at Romney and Cumberland. You guys have gone above freezing by about 1 o'clock. So that will change over to, if it's a pure snow, it'll change over to snow that's not really sticking anymore, and we'll actually start to see some melting as temperatures continue to rise here. All right, we go to 2 o'clock. Looks like the precip will actually be winding down here in western Maryland and out towards Romney, maybe even as far east as Hancock, Berkeley Springs. Still some rain, but it should be pure rain at this point, but just barely. Winchester down through the Woodstock area, and all rain in Metro Washington. These flicks of yellow and orange would be more indicative of downpours, so we'll be tracking and watching that for you guys here early this morning. All right, into the afternoon, I should say. 3 o'clock, still some downpours if you're traveling on 95 up to Baltimore and farther north and east along the northeast corridor up to Philadelphia. It's a pure rain. 95 corridor south of D.C. through Fredericksburg, Quantico area, the Quantico exit and down through Stafford. It's all rain here, and same out to Culpeper and farther south and west through the orange area. So again, we're tracking mainly rain this afternoon, and at 4 or 5 o'clock, the evening commute, it will be damp. There will be showers and occasional downpours as well, as it is a pure rain. Almost everyone, it's all rain at this point. There may be some lingering ice in the mountains, but anything we get will be light. I'm actually concerned that there may be a little bit of drizzle and freezing drizzle at this point. So we'll be watching you guys in the winter weather advisory area here, Romney, Hancock, and Cumberland. But most of us, the advisory is already over by 5 o'clock. For most of us, the advisory goes through 4 o'clock. And the National Weather Service, they will trim down that advisory as we get farther and farther into the afternoon hours, as it looks like it becomes more of a rain event. So you'll want to watch this space, our WUSA9 app. If you're watching us from there, thanks for downloading the app. If you're not, this is a good time to get it. Get it on your smartphone, and we will have the latest weather alerts there. 6 o'clock, still dealing with rain, maybe some downpours now, La Plata, Leonardtown, and over to Lexington Park and California, and some downpours in around Fredericksburg over to the Dahlgren area and perhaps Colonial Beach. More of a scattered light shower and drizzle activity in around the rest of the metro, Gaithersburg, Rockville, Bethesda, over to Tysons and down through Vienna, Fairfax, Annandale as well, and some showers continuing through the Mount Vernon area and down through Springfield, Dale City, Woodbridge. Some light showers as well in around the Shenandoah, maybe some patchy drizzle. 8 o'clock, all right, it's starting to wind down. We're dealing with just rain in D.C., but it is tapering off to showers and still some lingering shower activity. Southern Maryland, look at the temp, jump up towards 50. In the metro, we're in the 40s, and cold 30s remain here, Shenandoah Valley to Frederick, Leesburg, Purcellville, and over to Aldie as well. Again, that's 8 o'clock, the eastern shore, some downpours, some lingering showers possible up in the high country locations, some of the mountain spots, and that'll ease probably about 8, 9 o'clock. In the metro, a lingering shower through about 9, maybe 10 o'clock, and then you're done. Southern Maryland, northern neck, still some lingering showers through about 10 to 11, and then by the time we get to 11, midnight, look at that. This system is pretty much pulled out of here, and we are shutting it down. So that is great news here. All right, here's a computer-driven forecast. I just want to show you computers. They are great at guiding us to make our forecast, but we don't depend on them solely for the forecast. We look at a lot of different factors, but you know, many of the models pointing to that half-inch to an inch range. That's a decent rain for winter. So that's where we're going to end up in DC, somewhere in that half-inch to inch range. So that's what you'll get in your backyard bucket there. In the meantime, same story out in the Shenandoah, maybe lesser amounts with more of the wintry precip to start, but again, close to half an inch up and down that I-81 corridor, western Maryland and West Virginia as well, with heavier rain amounts to the eastern shore. Perhaps southern Maryland, you guys could approach an inch as well, and Fredericksburg, Spotsylvania area could be approaching an inch. Here's a computer-driven forecast for snow. And I've plotted a few towns that we don't usually show on the map. I wish I could show every town on the map. I would try, but it would just take us an hour to get through the entire forecast. But see how the amounts are just pretty pitiful? They're not much of a way of amounts here. You may get a coating early here at the start of the storm, which is not even until later this morning in Frederick and Brunswick and Charlestown. Maybe, and I think this is generous, maybe an inch in Martinsburg, Cross Junction, down through Wardensville and up to the Hagerstown area, and perhaps 2 inches. But just visualize 2 inches in your head and then take it down by half. So take it down to 1, because that's basically what you'll kind of see on the grassy surfaces. Maybe some of the roads will get coated out here. So just be mindful of that 68-40 corridor out in western Maryland and out on Route 50 through West Virginia. Some of these roads will get coated, but then this will all melt here during the afternoon and evening hours as temperatures will actually go above freezing in most spots. So Washington, D.C. Metro, what do you get? You're going to end up somewhere in that, I'd say, half an inch to an inch range. Again, this is 5 different models that we're looking at here. And as you can see, it is in that half inch to inch range of these 5 models. And these are just 5 of the I'm not even kidding. We have hundreds of models available to show you how much rain we're going to get. We can only display a few of them, but the idea is that we're not going to get a ton out of this. And again, our snow drought is going to continue here in Washington. So snow lovers, I'm sorry, this isn't the storm for you. There's still plenty of winter left. In fact, it gets colder as we head into the end of next week as we go into February. So there will be chances for some snow. So quick recap of what we're going to see today. Again, for you guys out in western areas, there'll be a wintry mix before it changes over to all rain in the afternoon. We'll still end up above freezing in almost all locations. Places like Thurmont, where you may get a quick inch, Martinsburg, maybe a quick inch. Again, Wardensville and Romney, you may get an inch or 2 of snow. Then it melts this afternoon. But also watch for tricky travel from morning to early in the afternoon hours. We go to the southern areas, southern Maryland. It's all rain for you guys. Leonardtown up through Prince Frederick and La Plata, St. Charles, and Waldorf. And then here in northern and central Virginia from Dale City, Woodbridge, Manassas, south through Stafford, Spotsylvania. It is going to be all rain for the day ahead. There may be a few snowflakes and some sleet mixing at the very beginning, but no accumulation is expected as temperatures again warm into the 40s. In Metro Washington, again, same story, mainly rain. There may be some snow, Middleburg, Purcellville, Leesburg, and maybe even up to Clarksburg and Damascus to start snow and sleet at the very beginning as the precipitation first moves in, but then it changes over to all rain here for the rest of this day and we'll end up in the 40s for those top temperatures again. I just want to give you a quick look at how this storm kind of plays out on the larger scale. This is our surface map. You can see low pressure still several hundred miles away from us here at 10 o'clock. That's 2 hours from now. It's still really far away. That's why the precipitation isn't really going to get going until 10, 11, maybe as late as noon for some spots. It moves through during the day. We'll warm up slightly as the front approaches, and then behind it, that colder air will start to push in. We dry out the sky. So by tomorrow morning, we're left with a dry sky across the area. It does look like we'll stay dry for the next couple of days. We're not worried about any rain, precipitation, or anything of that nature next few days with warmer temperatures by Saturday and Sunday. But next couple of days, we're on the chilly side, staying in the 40s which actually for January, the end of January, that's actually about where we should be this time of year. There will be another system we'll be watching perhaps late Sunday. It looks like a rainmaker for us. The really cold air doesn't really get into our area until next week. So chilly next couple of days, including today. It's a cold rain here in Metro Washington. And I just want to reiterate, no hype here. It is all rain for D.C. Cold rain for D.C. and south to Fredericksburg over to Leonardtown and the rest of southern Maryland, right on through Prince George's and Fairfax County. Most of Montgomery County, a cold rain, though it may start as a few flakes up towards Clarksburg, Damascus, and parts of Loudoun County over to Leesburg and west. You guys may see a wintry mix at first before it quickly changes over to rain. The rest of us, again, I showed you the maps earlier. It's mainly an icy event, snowy, icy event, then changing over to rain during the afternoon hours. More of a pure snow for far western Maryland and some of the Allegheny Mountains and the western parts of the Allegheny Plateau. Okay, that's it for our live stream here, 8:15. I'm going to leave it at that. We'll have more updates throughout the morning. Mary's in at 9 o'clock on Great Day, Washington. Caitlin and Topper will take you through the afternoon as this weather situation moves in. Stay with us on WUSA 9 and WUSA 9 Plus. I'm meteorologist Chester Lampkin. Stay safe and have a great day.